I think failure is crucial. We talked in some of the talks we had today, we talked about the line between good frustration and bad frustration. You have to be frustrated. You have to be challenged to learn. Otherwise, anything worth learning is hard to you. If everything comes so easily to you, it's not worth your time.
Well, the function of failure in IBL is that you cannot succeed until you have failed a few times. And oftentimes, to come up with your own ideas and with your right conjectures, you have to go through a few wrong conjectures and prove them false until you prove them correct. So the role of failure is to accept this as part of the learning process, because you are very unlikely to come up with the right result the first time. So students have to learn to celebrate the wrong result, because once they've made a conjecture and they've proven it wrong and they've seen why, then they've learned something, they want to step closer.
I think there is an initial success that helps. I think there's also, in an IBL classroom, there's an emphasis placed on failure, and that failure is a good thing, and the only way to get to success is to fail, and you have to be willing to do that and realize that, okay, I failed, well that's good, that means I marked one way that you can't do this off of the list, now I'll go back to another way. So I think they don't get as discouraged and they get to see themselves succeed. I also think in an IBL classroom, this is where the professor becomes important. They may not be standing up lecturing, but they're picking problems very carefully so that there's a good scaffold and they can have some successes so that when they get to the problems that are a little harder, they have the confidence to keep trying because they've had these early successes.
Some of my colleagues say, a lot of what you do in math is learn to persevere. And I really believe this. We talk about our mistakes, create an environment where it's safe to talk about every idea, chase down every lead you have. Sometimes they'll work out, sometimes they won't. But learning from mistakes is central to, personal development, and it's central to learning mathematics, definitely.
Failure is very important. I think that is crucial, and I think it's sort of built into any IBL class, that importance of failure, right? Like being able to stand up there, present something that's wrong, being okay with the fact that it's wrong, and being comfortable enough and keeping that open mind that you're going to have that happen. And then again, back to the instructor, thinking about the patience, right, of working through that failure and making sure that everyone is on the same page as we work through that and try to figure out ways to make that better. So I think it's crucial. They have to be willing to fail. And if they're not willing to fail, then they're not going to, right? It's part of that open-mindedness that's one of the things they have to embrace.
A lot of my math students, they have this idea that, oh, I don't want to show the incorrect answer, but I believe that's how you understand, by making mistakes.
I think when you turn the corner and then you realize that you have figured it out and that you have had help by maybe looking through the material or the professor and the comments other students have made, but you're the one that figured it out, then you get an authentic confidence, and that builds, and you're willing to try again and again and again, and you're willing to make mistakes. And you realize if you make a mistake, one of my other students, Mr. Pontius, one time was on the sideboard, and I think the third line of his argument was wrong. It was a huge argument, the third line was wrong. And one of the students pointed it out, and he started laughing hysterically. And we all laughed with him, and you could see the joie de vivre, the love, the happiness that, oh yeah, I'm wrong, but this too shall pass, I'm gonna figure it out. And so it's that translation from being a person who receives to a person who gives, from a taker to a doer. Instead of the idea of crack open the head and pour the knowledge in, it's I'm learning how to learn.